We've had a good week, huh?
Yeah, we have, man. It's been a lot of family this week.
We put our first two podcasts on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that's true, man. We launched our first two shows and about what, maybe four or five shorts out of them.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been
Yeah.
really a lot of fun doing this. So today we're doing a new episode number 3. What are you thinking we're going to talk about today, honey?
I'd like to talk about nurturing relationships with friends and family.
Hi, I'm Julie.
And I'm the painter.
He's Jason, my handsome, talented, smart, wonderful, and amazing husband. Even though we're very different and I drive him a little bit crazy, together we're a happily married couple living a wonderful life.
So click subscribe and listen in as we put our comical odd couple spin on relationships, life, travel, and everyday realities of growing older together.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds like a good topic. It kind of surprises me that that's what you've come up with, but
Well, I've always I think it's one of your strongest points. It's one of the things I noticed when we first met, that you were really good at nurturing those long-term relationships with friends and family, and and it's just a weakness that I have. I've had tons of friends throughout my life. We got really close for up to, even a number of years. But then things would happen, we'd drift away, and then I basically lost contact with them over time. With you, it seems like every friend you've had since you were in grade school, you've got a group of friends from school, you've got a group of friends that you grew up in church with, you've got a group of friends that you went to college with, you got the group of friends here in Indianapolis where we live. And I mean, it's like if anybody was ever friends with you, you're still super close and tight today and in contact.
oh, that's really sweet, and it means a lot to me because relationships are kind of my thing. I'm not good at everything, but it's my top priority in life. Maybe that's helpful with us too, but I mean, it's definitely kind of my top priority in life. I could live without having a successful career. I'm not motivated by that. I can live without a lot of things, but having a good relationship with the people that I love and having really substantial friendships, not just superficial friendships, has always been important to me.
And I can tell that you put a lot of intentional effort into that.
Yeah, so there's a quote that says, intentional living is living your best story. And I think intentionality has become a real popular thing. They label it by a lot of different words. Some people are really into like mindfulness and I think or what's the other one? Just deliberate decision making, mindfulness, intentionality have all become pretty popular, but they are, it is true that you are going to make time and you are going to base your decisions and make your plans based on the things that are most important to you. It's not always easy, but well, I don't know. For me, it's not really that hard, so I can't even say that. It's always been pretty easy. There have been times when it's been harder, but one of the nice things about having lifelong friends, and I do have friends, I literally have friends who I can't even tell you when I met them because our mothers were in Sunday school together and we were in the nursery together. So it's like there was never a time that I didn't know them. I mean, and they're still my friends, close friends, not just people that I've known all my life. So when you have that, there's this really awesome thing that you can't replicate in any other friendship, that, we go through everything together. We've gone through childhood together. We've gone through adolescence together. We went to college together. We came home from college together. We figured out, getting married together. We had young kids together. We were at each other's weddings. We've done it all, including some bad things. We've had tragedy happen. We've had our parents die. I had a husband die. I had my son diagnosed with autism. We've been through it all together, and they know everything about me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I can't hide anything from them. And they knew me when I was a mess, and they knew me when I got better, and they knew me when I had they've seen the evolution. You can't really, that's hard to, you don't have that in every friendship or in every relationship for sure.
You say that maintaining relationships is easy for you, but I also
Mm.
see you put a lot of effort and energy into it.
I do. I always have. Honestly, it's funny because since I've been married to you, I feel like sometimes I've put less energy into it because we just have a really good, strong relationship. We do a lot of things together, and
Yeah, either that or my bad behavior is wearing off on
no,
you.
no, no. We meet a lot of each other's needs. So definitely, I think there are times when your girlfriends or your group of friends are meeting emotional needs that you just that you just
That maybe you're not getting at
that
home.
maybe you're not getting at home, which isn't a bad thing. We can talk about how we can talk about that in another episode. I say that all the time now. I've noticed every time I watch our episodes, I say that all the time. But we always come up with ideas for our next episodes. But as far as keeping friendships going, you do have to make time for that. You do have to focus on, I'm going to talk to this person every week, or I'm going to make sure that I check in on this person every week, or I'm going to plan something for us to get together. And what I found is that it's just something you do because it's important to you. I mean, if I had to make a list, we all make decisions based on the things that are important to us. So if I had to make a list easily, I could say, my relationship right now, my relationship with you is the most important thing. Making sure the kids are happy and have what they need is, right up there. And they're adults, but they still need us a little. So you, the kids, and then my friends are just right there. My friends really are my family. I mean, my family's lived far away geographically for most of my adult life. Even my cousins and aunts and uncles that just live about 100 miles away in Louisville, are far enough away. But my mother and my brother and my birth family, we'll get into that maybe some episode. I was adopted and I have a birth family that lives in Tennessee. But anyway, they're all far away. So, and
Yeah, your family's pretty spread out.
yeah, it's kind of spread out. Yeah, but where am I going with this?
Well, you started talking about how.
Oh, my friends are my family. That's what.
Yeah,
My friends really are.
and
my
even
family.
prior to that, you were talking about how it was important to you. And when you said that, I was thinking about the word priority. You say important to you. To me, that's you're making keeping those friendships alive a priority in your life. And I think that's what we do, right? We invest our energy into doing the things that are a priority for us.
Yeah, and most of my friends reciprocate pretty well. Now, I've always, I can't say this is true completely anymore. Not with all of my friends, but growing up, I definitely, I think put more effort into most of my friendships than I was the one who put the most effort, I think, in. I don't know why. Part of that, I think, was just because my parents got divorced and my friends really were my family. And I put a lot of effort just into talking to them all the time, listening to what their problems were, figuring out what I needed to do to help them. These are childhood friends, sometimes even to the detriment of what I needed to do for myself, and I've kind of learned over time how to, I'm an adult now, but you learn over time how to make that a more even kind of thing. But I've never gotten caught up in what I was getting back. I've never been, as an adult, especially like, oh, I call her more than she calls me, or oh, she doesn't. I never hear from her, so I'm not going to keep in touch. I just don't think that way. I really do think like, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to so and so in so long. I need to do better, or I need to just let her know that she's really important to me. And I'm not.
Yeah, that would probably be a problem if you were to like keep score. Hey, I put this event together. It's her turn. She didn't do it. Screw her. Then that's going to cause the relationship to drift.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, where what if I'm hearing you right, what you're saying is you put the energy into getting together, and you don't expect that from everybody else.
I don't. No. And I mean, sometimes you get a little, your feelings hurt a little if you have tried several times and there's no kind of, no responding the way that you're expecting. But typically I haven't gotten too upset about it. Yeah, I have my core group of friends that are really good about it, and now sometimes that I've been busier because I've gone back to work and various things, but are sometimes even better than I am. But one of the things that really disrupted kind of everything for me was, let's see, how old was I when I moved to Indiana from Louisville? So, I grew up in Louisville, went to
I
school.
think you were like 12.
I was not. Maybe, though. No, I know it seems like I look that young, but
I'm just kidding.
I was
I
just
don't.
kidding.
I have no idea how old you were.
Well, I was pregnant with, I was married, 1999, so
You were pregnant at the time.
when I moved
Oh,
here.
so you were 12.
Yeah. I married Joe in 1999. I moved here, so that's the better way to remember. So 1999. What year is this? 25 years.
20. Oh my gosh.
I moved to Indiana 25 years ago. Yeah. So one of the things that's kind of a downside.
So you were what? Is that
I was 30.
early, very early 30s?
34.
Yeah.
34.
A little older than 12.
A little. With 2 kids. So I moved to Indiana with 2 kids, newly married, and I got pregnant with Ben, and or maybe I was already pregnant with Ben. Who knows? But I was pregnant, had 2 kids, and moved into the first house that I ever owned. I was like a single mom renting before that. Moved into the first house I've ever owned. But anyway, I digress. The downside to having lifelong friends is, if there is a downside, is that you have these people that know you so well that you don't have to think about how you come across to anyone.
Yeah, but I heard something one time that a true good friend is somebody that can know you really, really well, but they like you anyway.
Oh, for sure. But it makes it harder to make new friends because I take for granted that people are just going to understand me and figure, and they're not going to think, oh, she's a weirdo, or oh, she's an opinionated bitch, or whatever, because I can be all of those things with my lifelong friends, and I know that they just know me. They're very much like, oh, that's just Julie. She she gets that way.
She's an opinionated bitch.
Whatever. I just brought that up as one possible example.
All right.
But when I started meeting people in Indiana and they kind of didn't get me, I didn't, have this connection with them right away. Because I do think it's much harder to make good friends the older you get.
Oh, really?
I do, yeah. I do. We went to school together. We were together every day. You're not with people together every day.
Well, I mean, there's situations in life that make it easier, right? Like you're in school together, you're taking a class together, you're doing something where you're in the midst of new people. It's gonna be more likely to make friends.
But lots of times, like I moved to Indiana, and a lot of time, the older you get, when you meet people, they kind of already have their tribe. So they don't need you either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they've grown up, take you for example, say they grew up in Middletown and they have their people. They don't really care about being best friends with you. They have their people. So I think it's a little bit harder to make those really intense connections. The older you get. So it took me a long time when I moved to Indiana. One thing that helped, I had a wonderful friend who lived across the street, and I'm still friends with her. She's wonderful. I have my disability mom friends who, they're the only people that I have that in common with. I have a couple that are just incredibly dear to me. And I have the disability world here. And that helped a little bit. But it was a long, long time before I truly felt like I had friends, real friends in Indiana. But for a long time, I would say, I'm fine here. But if I had to move away, there's like really nobody that I would keep in touch with. Now, I don't feel that way now. Things changed about, I don't know, a dozen years ago or so. So I was here a long time. I was here a decade before I really, really felt like I had true friends here.
Yeah, it's hard for me to imagine just seeing how you roll. But
Well,
you are very successful, though. You have created not just a single network, but maybe a couple different networks of friends here in Indianapolis, and you still maintain those networks of friends you had in Louisville.
So kind of back to the intentionality part, I meant to say this. This was something my dad taught me that I didn't really realize he taught me. But when I graduated from college and moved back to Louisville, my dad came up with this thing. I wasn't living at home, and he said that we were going to have a day that was a day that we had dinner together every week. And he said, if we don't do that, if we don't plan this day, and he was a very black and white engineer type. You're funny. You're not like this, but he was a very like did this. You know, he did the same thing on Monday, the same thing on Tuesday, the same thing on Wednesday. I think your dad was a bit the same way.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So we were gonna get together one day a week. So every Thursday. Thursday was our dinner night, and I'm telling you, to make a long story short, we spent every Thursday together with very few exceptions from the time I was 23 until I moved to Indiana. So that whole, I mean, through kids, through marriage, through Thursday was my night with my dad. And I tell him sometimes more often than that, but I never, we saw each other on Thursdays. And he was right. He's like, if we don't plan to do this, 2 or 3 weeks will go by, we won't see each other. We won't, it won't happen. So,
yeah, I've seen that with my kids.
Yeah, which is why we had game night last night, right?
Right, because we're on a new thing, right? Because you pointed it out. You were like,
I did, yeah.
"Hey, man, this is not right. It's our children are adults, but you said this is not right. We haven't seen your kids in 3 months or something, and we need to plan something."
We would try to plan things, or we would say that, like, "Oh, I miss the kids, when are we going to see them?" And finally I said, you know what, we just are going to have to come up with some sort of schedule, because if we only see them once a month, at least we see them once a month. At least 6 months don't go by. We have kids that live in town that we would end up going 2 or 3 months without seeing for no reason. We're not that busy, and they're not that busy. It just wasn't on the schedule. So
Right.
Christmas, I talked to him, and I did do this. I hate to take credit, But listen,
Might as well.
we made you look so good in the other episodes.
Right.
I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's fair to make me look like shit in this one.
It's fair to make me look better.
Last night we had the kids all over
For game night.
Yeah, we had a birthday and we played some dumbass game. What was that?
I don't remember. It's sort of the cue.
Yeah.
Well, first there was the potato game. Some sort of potato game where you had to write all the potatoes down.
Oh, yeah. Count the potatoes.
Count the potato game. I don't know what that game was called.
Yeah,
but the kids are really into games. So they brought over a couple of games, which is good for us because, I'm not really a game player. I'll do it, but I'm not really a game player. But I also have a short attention span. I absolutely will not play the game if I have to read the rules. If someone wants to give me the abbreviated version and kind of help me along, I'm cool with it. But if I have to sit down and read the rules, you might as well forget it. So going forward with that, they brought over 2 silly fun games. We had like a taco nacho bar. We played games. We had birthday cake, and we hung out with our kids last night. That was fun. And then
And what was that second game? It was like quaff or something.
something like that. It started with the cute.
Yeah.
It had a whole bunch of rules.
Yeah, to me it looked like queef, but I said that once and they corrected me. It wasn't.
That actually was a fun game. And even Ben played, so it was fun. We had fun. Yeah.
It was like a board game, and you kept having to draw these cards and do stupid shit in order to move forward.
There were a lot of different rules, but the biggest thing was the kids actually pretended like they were having fun hanging out with us, and we got to be with them. So that was good.
It was a nice night.
It was a nice night. And then today, another kid day, we had our exciting
Concert.
Yeah. Our oldest son has on the autism spectrum. I've mentioned that before. He's 31, and he's been in music therapy for years. And today there was the music therapy concert at the pizza parlor.
So we got to see him play "Sweet Home Alabama" on an auto harp.
Auto harp. It's an interesting version of Leonard Skinner on the auto harp, but he did a good job, and it was funny, and all the kids were they're adults, but they were so sweet. Weren't they so sweet?
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah.
And that music instructor, he deserves some kudos for that, man. That's got to be a lot of work.
When I moved here, my best girlfriends, one lives in Louisville, one lives in Lexington, one lives in Columbus, Ohio. We get together. We plan on at least twice a year. We have a little girls' weekend.
Yeah.
So and sometimes it's just come here to my house. They like to come to my house, which makes me happy. That's awesome. I love having them come to my house. But they come once in the summer when the pool's open, and then sometimes they usually come before the weather's good, and we just watch movies and hang out. But we do get together at least a couple of times a year. We try to plan it, and we see each other usually more often than that. Then I started my Indiana friend group. Well, I didn't start my Indiana friend group, but I have my Indiana friend group, and they're pretty awesome. I've been friends with them for about a dozen years. Our kids were in a activity together, not a competition team. And we are all vastly different. I mean, we've become less different probably over the last decade, but they're not people that we would not have ended up together. We didn't work together. We didn't live in the same neighborhood. We're different ages. They're all younger than I am. And that just means that I really love them. So I'm older.
Because you said you don't like hanging out with people younger than you.
No.
Or prettier.
Well, I mean, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, but it was funny last time you said it.
Well, yeah. I have a lot of friends who are younger and prettier than I am, and I love hanging out with them. But they keep me on my toes, man. I need to step up my game so that I don't feel shitty when I'm around them. No, they're not like that at all. So anyway, I'm the oldest one in that group.
Damn.
I wasn't always. I don't want to. That's too sad. But anyway, I was. But I am right now the oldest one in that group. I'm even older than you are, honey.
A lot older. Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
I'm young.
Yeah. I always tell Jason that, like, it kind of, he could have, he's, look at him. He's handsome. He is successful. He's smart and funny, and he paints, and he could have had he could have gotten a much younger woman, but.
Right. We're like a year apart from each other.
Oh yeah. I think a year and a couple months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hate those 2 months when
Right.
when he's 2 years younger than I am. It pisses me off.
And I pointed out the entire 2 months. Yeah.
As long as no one ever asks me if I'm your mother or anything, that would really piss me off. I have one friend, oh my God, she does look young for her age, and she especially did then. When I first got to be friends with her, she was like in her 20s, and she has a son on the autism spectrum. That's how we met, and we're also still good friends. She's a trip. But there were a couple of times that people thought she was my daughter.
Oh,
It
shit.
really did piss
No,
me
yeah,
off.
that's bad.
I'm like, seriously? Do I? I mean, so I was like getting close to 40, and she was like 28, and people would ask if I was her mom.
Yeah, that's like getting close to the whole, asking somebody about their pregnancy and then finding out they're not pregnant. That's like the worst. There's no way you can fix that,
No. So back to my Indiana friends. When our kids stopped doing this activity to get together that they all did, and they, various reasons they dropped out, they went on to do other sports and other things. We made this decision, this very intentional decision, that we were still going to have a outing or some sort of gathering or social event once a month. We started calling it the second Saturday Club, I think is what we called it in the beginning. And we made sure. I mean, we don't do it at the second Saturday, but we still pretty much have some sort of get together at least once a month.
Yeah, about once a month. Yeah.
Plus, sometimes we'll do little mini get togethers if there's things going on. But it's been the closest thing to what I had growing up that I could ever have here. And it's really nice now because it has been a dozen years. So our kids were like 10, when we started hanging out, and now they're graduating from college and they're not all best friends anymore, but they know each other and they know each other's parents, and we've all watched our kids grow up, and we do get together all the time. So that's been a wonderful thing that's made me feel very connected to.
Yeah, and I think everybody in the group thinks that get-togethers are fun, and some of them are good size. Like we have pretty big parties for like Christmas, Halloween's always kind of a big fiasco. There'll usually be a New Year's party.
Sometimes we do Friendsgiving.
We do Mardi Gras.
We did Mardi Gras sometimes. We do Friendsgiving. We do St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, so the holiday parties are a little bigger. Some of them are fairly small, but they try to get together. What I've seen is trying to shoot for that once a month. Every once in a while, we haven't done it for a while, but there for a while it was like the thought was even if it's just meet at a restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But go ahead and share how you feel about that, because I know you don't really like when a group meets at a restaurant.
It's not my favorite. I'll do it.
Why is that?
You can't really interact and talk, and it ends up when there's that many people. If there's more than I think 4 couples is max, and 3 would be my preference to go out to eat in groups, because you're at a big table spread out and people are having these mini conversations and you're not really into it. It's loud. It's definitely chaotic for the waitress to try to split that many checks. When we used to do it, our kids were still little, so the kids would even sit at separate tables, so it was a mess for the waitresses. And I always have I was except for anyway, I have empathy for the waitress that it's a mess. But mostly it's just chaotic, and I don't really feel like it's a good place to connect with people.
Yeah, and there's been more than once I've come in and I'm sitting down close to the end of the table, and hell, I have no clue what's being talked about,
Right.
2/3 of the group.
Yeah, and for Jason, bless his heart, bless your heart.
Bless my heart.
Bless your heart.
That's like usually, so you're from the South, so that's usually a Southern opening for getting ready to cut deep. Bless his heart, that fat bastard.
I'm not really. I mean, if I guess depending on where you live, you would consider Louisville the South, but it's. I
do. I live north of there.
Yeah, you live north of there, but I'm not from the deep South. But my family does live in Alabama, so
we're much more evolved. We're like 2 hours to the north here in Indianapolis.
I would not say that you're more evolved, but you are 2 hours to the north. Depends. I've been to some pretty rough around the edges, little places in Indiana. But
but you got to admit, there's more to Indiana than just cornfields and fat people. I mean, we got plenty of that, but I mean, there's some good spots.
Oh yeah, in Kentucky we have tobacco fields and people, but I don't know if they're fat or not. But no, I grew up in the city though, and surprisingly, I grew up in this very progressive little hip part of Louisville.
No, you've opened my eyes to Louisville, though. It's a pretty nice city.
Yeah, no, it's a nice city. It is. And then I went to school in Lexington, and I learned that there was this whole other part of the state. But I, again, digress. So what were we talking about? Friendships.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask you on that subject was, like, if somebody out there was having trouble with this, what are some pointers you would give to how to hang on to friendships and keep them alive? And what would you do, for example, if you were really good friends with somebody and you've kind of lost touch for a while and you'd like to rekindle that? How would you go about doing that?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty direct. I would just say, hey, you were really, I feel really comfortable being able to tell people you were really important to me. I really love the time that we used to hang out together, and I miss you. What would you think about, getting together? Or even if just how are things with you? How are things with you and your kids, or calling? My roommate from college, I love and adore. I miss her all the time. I hardly ever talk to her, and I haven't made a huge effort lately, but I would have no problem just being like, I love you, miss you, what's going on? And I don't, she does not make much of an effort to keep in touch, but I know she loves me and misses me too. I do. I don't know that that's an excuse, but it's just kind of the way things are. So my advice would just be, if it's important to you, do it. It's reach out to people. I think it worries me that our kids aren't, that kids today, not our kids, but kids today don't have that as much as we did, like you may not keep in touch with people that you grew up with, but you have these really significant people that, you grew up with, that you knew their families and they knew you. You still know their families. You care about what happens to them. And I don't know if it's social media or I think that's a big part of it. Why kids, I think.
Yeah, technology's probably had an influence, because people talk a lot, like, through the social media apps and all of that. Young people today, they believe they've got all these friendships that may or may not really be as deep or as real as they think.
I mean, like my friends, if I needed them, would drop everything and come be with me, and I would do the same for them. I mean, they've done it, and I would do the same for them. And to me, it's like just liking somebody's thing on Facebook doesn't mean you're friends. It's weird. Kids talk about like someone of the opposite sex that they're talking to, and they haven't even done anything together yet. They haven't even seen each other in person yet, and they're all worried about things. I'm like, is this even a real?
We actually heard a case like that. Right? They were having relationship problems, and they hadn't even been out on their first date yet.
Yeah, I'm like, okay,
that's like excessive talking via social media.
And I think it's funny because I think our age, like for me, social media has expanded my friendships. I
Oh, so what you're saying is social media can also help, right? Because it makes it easier to contact people.
Well, I mean, I'm friends with people that I went to high school with that were not my best friends in high school, but I liked them and I cared about them. And I went to a pretty cool high school. I will say, I had a 85 people in my graduating class, which is a good number. I feel like we all knew each other pretty well. I mean, or we all knew each, for the most, I mean, that's a good number. But anyway, bottom line is I really loved them. I cared about them. I knew them. They knew me, but they're not people that I kept in touch with before social media. And now we're friends on social media, and we find out we have these things in common. Our kids might go to the same college, or they're doing this, or this is going on, or they have an illness, or some of them were just great, sweet, supportive to me when I was going through with my husband was dying, and so so when I see them, I'm even gladder to see them because they've been so sweet to me on social media.
I don't think gladder's a word. I think it's more glad.
I'm more glad to see them than I would have been.
Or happier.
Like I just had my 40th high school reunion last year, and it was so nice to see everybody. And I think social media contributes to that a lot.
I do admire your ability and your track record of maintaining all these friendships and keeping family members close as well. It's not just friends, right? It's friends and family. You do it with everything. And I like that because, like I said earlier, I'm weak at it. I know that's a weakness I have. It's a strength you have, and it helps me. It's not that I don't like people. It's just that if left to my own devices, I'm not going to put that energy there.
You don't think?
No.
You just wouldn't see anybody?
Yeah, eventually I'd be standing by myself out in the cornfield.
Yeah, when I get into family, that's a little harder. My family's not as... I've gotten frustrated with my family over the... I love them; they're wonderful, but I do get frustrated. They're not always as receptive to my good ideas.
And you do have good ideas.
I've been told that,
yeah.
And they're not always as receptive.
I've been told that too by you.
That's funny. They've not always been as receptive to my good ideas as I would like for them to be.
Whereas your friends are.
More.
So.
More. And I've also, my life just has gotten busy for me too. But yeah. Another thing that I think is interesting, when you say that about yourself not being great at it, I think part of that is a male-female thing. Women just, no matter what anyone says about society and gender roles, I think it's hard to say that women aren't just kind of by nature, biology-wise, just more into attachment and nurturing and relationships than men are. I mean, it's important to both sexes, but for different reasons.
I won't disagree with that at all. I think men are actually, because of the way we're programmed to approach life, we're actually kind of handicapped when it comes to maintaining long-term friendships because as we're struggling to get on, I know this was my case, and I know it's a lot of other guys' cases too, as we're struggling to get on our feet and we're struggling to find success in life, we will literally look at our friends that we're with and have to make that tough decision. Are you guys helping me get where I need to go, or are you holding us back, or are you holding me back? And a man will get to the point where if he feels like they're holding him back, he'll sever ties and never return. And that's I think it does help guys get to a level of success quicker. But at the end of the day, years down the road, there's regrets with that. You look back and it's a wake of bodies of potential lifelong friends.
And it's harder for men, for whatever reason. We could delve into this, but to form really significant attachments to other men, it is. I don't know if it is just a evolutionary biological thing. That men have had to view each other as competition.
Yeah, competition.
Whereas women also, I mean, women also view each other as competition to.
Just for guys.
Get to the best man. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
that's true. I mean, that's true. That's why, that's true though. I don't think every friendship is like that, but I mean, historically, obviously there's some truth to that, so.
Yeah, we're getting kind of deep with it now.
Oh, we are very deep, honey. We are very deep. But, that's why when you think.
I heard friends are like condoms.
Oh, God. Really? I can't wait to hear this.
They protect you when things get hard.
Oh, that's a good one. That's funny.
Yeah, I can tell by how it's busting you up.
That's a good one. Did you did you plan that one or did it just come
No, I
to you?
freaking found it when I was researching for this show.
Oh, that's funny. But what about like think about it? They talk about the whole like how often is it that men and men become friends. But men are more likely to become friends with like their wives' friends. They're more likely to do stuff with their wives' families. Because they just kind of let them take the lead on the relationship stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's the case with me. I mean, hell, I probably wouldn't see my family as much as I do. I mean, it's not probably I wouldn't see my own family as much as I do if it wouldn't be for you. You put together a lot of that, or you prod me to, You'll say, hey, you need to call your mom, that type of thing.
Clearly, like I said, when I make my priority chart, it comes naturally to me because, there's you and friends and family, and maybe the dogs come after that. And I plan my activities around that stuff, and I like to plan activities. And then,
I'm actually surprised that I come before the dogs in that.
Oh my God! Wait, where's Dizzy? Maybe he'll come say hi. Yeah, I do love my dogs. Hey, Dizzy.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Oh, look, here he is. Oh, this is Dizzy, the fluffy puppy. Here, Dizzy. Here, look. Here he is. Dizzy. Dizzy, Dizzy, Dizzy. Say hi, friends. All right, there you go. There he is. Oh, he's named after Dizzy Gillespie.
I don't know if you said it this way, but one of the things you said was you make maintaining relationships with friends and family a priority in your life. You also recommended that if people are having issues with it, just don't be afraid to reach out to people and stir it up. Say, hey man, we want to get together. And then I thought the other interesting point you brought up was, to be willing to be the one that does the most work.
Yeah, I mean, you can't sit around and wait for people to come to you. That's just not the way life works. It's not. And sometimes some people will reciprocate the way that you hope that they will, and some people won't. The best, like, kind of life lesson, like, I didn't really think I would say this today, but my mom, bless her heart.
Bless her heart.
I do love one of the things that she really, really said all the time, and I really do believe this is true, is you do the right thing. You do what you feel like you need to do, and the way the other person responds to it is on them. That can't be your motivation. So if you feel like I really need to apologize, or I really need to spend time with this person, or I really need to reach out to this person because I want them to know what they mean to me, or it will enrich my life to be closer to them, then you just do it. And the way that they respond is on them. And it's, even if it's not the way you want them to, they'll at least know that you tried and that they matter to you and that they're important to you. And then, whether you keep on trying or not is up to you, but it can't be about what you're going to get back. That's not really genuine. You have to do it because it's what you feel like you need to do. And I really do think if you live that way, that typically it'll turn out the way that you want it to, but you can't be the one who's afraid to do that. You can't wait for people to come to you.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
If you want to have meaningful relationships and meaningful friendships. And you also have to be vulnerable. I mean, I hated, like even when I moved into the neighborhood and some of the women would invite me to do things, I would do it because I'm friendly, but I hate like going to those stupid parties where you order things, or I hate that shit.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. And I'll do it. But to me, it was just this, I hate hate is a strong word. I'm not motivated by superficial relationships. So people that just get together and aren't really connecting is not motivating.
So you say they're like just being friendly and they're your buddy as long as you're willing to buy something.
That, or just they're not really willing to make it. They don't really want to connect with you. You're just, it's just kind of superficial. And it's okay for that to be a part of your life, but that's not what is motivating to me. Yeah, that's not what's motivating to me. And that's why it took me a long time to make friends here, because what I found is, especially with women, like I just wasn't about sitting around and talking about how to decorate your house. I want to know like what you think, who you're voting for, what do you think about this, what's going on, I don't know. Are you happily married? I don't know. I want to talk about real stuff and have real friends and have friends that, will make themselves vulnerable and reach out to me if I need them to. And
speaking of reaching out, we have a new email address that we have a new email address that you can write to if you want to send in a idea for a subject you might want us to do a show on, or if you're just seeking some of that fabulous advice that Julia has.
I do have good ideas, and I give good advice. I've been told, and I do give good advice. I would love it if people would write in and ask for my advice on any topic.
Yeah,
any topic. I'll tell you if I don't know. I'll be the first to say, yeah, I'm not one to give advice on this. I suck. So, like, if you want advice on how to organize your closet, I would say, right in. I'm not good at that.
No.
I have someone I could pass that on to, but it's not me. And someday maybe I'll show you my closet and you'll say, yeah, you really need some help with that. But let me think of some other things that I would not ask for advice on, honey. What do you think? Wait, let's keep going. It's fun. This could be
We got to
funny.
give the email address.
Oh.
So it's contact@julianthepainter.com. You can reach out to the show.
Contact at Julie. Wait,
Contact at julianthepainter.com.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to be able to give some good advice. I'm best with dating advice. I am good with dating advice. And you can ask anyone. Ask anyone. Yeah. And what else am I good at, honey? Oh, friendship advice. Any relationship advice, really.
You come up with good ideas.
I'm good with travel advice too. I'm good with travel advice.
You're pretty good with
I'm good
you're good with planning trips.
and any events. I've planned some weddings, you name it, man. But listen, like I said, organization, cleaning. I'd say pass that on to someone else. What's the name of the people that are good at that stuff? Like
maids.
No, ask. It's like they had a thing that, like, a helpful hints from Heloise kind of thing. Yeah, ask her. I don't know shit.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about, man. Who the hell's Heloise?
Oh, what are they going to ask you about, honey?
Fuck, I don't know, man.
How to have a wonderful wife like me? Stay madly in love with you?
Right.
Is that what they're going to ask?
Probably.
Maybe.
If nothing else, our podcast is proving the point that old people should never have access to microphones or cameras.
Oh.
But if you like the podcast, click subscribe, join up. You're not going to want to miss the next one, and we'll see you.
Bye, everybody.